Alright, so today we're going to be adding on the propeller and animating a few things. So we'll get into the animation itself. I have to fix my timeline down here, so we'll be getting into this as well. But first things first, I am going to get the modeling out of the way. So I'm going to start with a cylinder. I feel like this is a good way to start us off. Bring us over here. Turn on our reference again. Hit space bar, and we will hit F, Shift A, and we'll get it so we can see everything. I am going to go to the creation, and I'm going to up it to 24 because I like having even good high even numbers with 8. Let's see here. So, I'm just going to make this like 15. We'll do 30, 40. And I'm going to make the height 60, and I'm going to rotate it. Hold J, just to really get the shape first. Next, I can also go, let's make this even 50. There we go, perfect. Now I'm going to turn on the rounded caps. You can do this by middle mouse dragging left and right here, or you can type in 1. And then I need to add in, I'm going to say 8 divisions for the caps. This way I can come along here quickly, and I'm just going to go to faces. Actually, let's just grab vertexes. Grab the center one, hit F, zoom out, hold down the control, right click, control and right click, two faces. I'm going to pull it out a little. Here, a little bit bigger, but I'm going to go to edges, add one in the center, pull this in so that it makes it look more like we've got something, new panel. I can just grab these guys. 2, shift, screwed my way in slowly while also moving forward. Well, this one. Until I get to a certain point, then I'm going to just go to vertexes. Oops. Text, make sure I'm in the front, hit Q, W, and then I can pull it out. I'm just going to shuffle this forward. There we go. Let's see here. Propeller. Yeah, oh, that's right. The propeller was off. Right. So here's this. So what I'm going to do is go vertexes. I'm going to grab these guys, pull them back here. And I'm just going to scale it like this. And grab this section here and flatten it. Just like that. Go to edges. I can grab this one, shift right click, and go to soften, harden, and harden edge, which is actually in the mesh display menu here. That will harden the mesh edge right there. And then I'm going to come over here, divide this up a little, just so that I can properly do this. I feel like it is a little uneven. So I'm going to personally change my own to be these faces right here. I'm going to go back further. I'm deviating a little from the model itself, but that's because I feel it is worth it. I can make it one model piece here. I can use the shift extrusion to make it a nice square block. And then see here. If I were to put one down the center really quick, I can hit the Control 1. Oh. Shift X. I'm just going to quickly cut here, holding Control and not Control, but just clicking and dragging, checking to see what it looks like. Smooth. W. Go back to Object Mode. V. Holding V, I'm just going to use my middle mouse button to drag my pivot point to here. And since I'm going to be deviating a little bit, I'm just going to snap this right around here. This is where I'm going to grab my vertexes, pull this guy here to match our boat a little better. And I can now also grab these vertexes. Let's see here. There. Perfect. Let's see here. Menu, 2-point, grid. I'm just going to manually do this one. There we go. Give it a little extra support. And I'm also going to make this a little bit nicer looking by I get busted? I'm going to delete my history just to make sure. No, let's see here. I grab this edge, pull it back, add a extra edge here just for fun. Just playing around with giving it a bit better shape. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll do. Perfect. All right. I'll do the UVing and texturing off scene since that is perfectly fine. So we are going to see here. So this will be the propeller ship. Propellers base geo. There we go. Technically, I probably would want it to have a lot more connection to my ship, but in fact, I'll have to probably play around, add edges or move some edges around. Should also delete and freeze the transform of those guys. Let's choose this and delete freeze transform. Because technically, oh, apparently I spelled ship wrong as well. Ship. All right, I'm going to grab a regular cylinder, hit W, create another new cylinder. Let's see here, hit Alt 5 to turn on the edge mode, holding V. I'm just going to snap it right here. I'm going to come back here to P, poly, and we will go, let's see here. This is a cylinder, right? Oh, no, I'll be. All right, try that again. Minimouse drag. There we go. I'm going to do 18 for this one, since that's how I'm going to divide it. All right. I'm going to do a radius of 4. Let's see what that is. Whoop, not 44. No, let's say if I did 10, well, yeah, that'd be fine. J. Now, I'm going to make mine all in one piece. You could model the fins separately, but I am going to do it all as one. So, with my object and my pivot point where it is, this will also make it easier for animation later. We are now going to hop into making the actual blade. So 1 second here. I'm going to find that our image is now off a little, but that's perfectly fine. So then I'm going to extend it a bigger. Go like this. Oh. Let's see. Twice that. Right around there. That should do. No. I could. I'm just going to manually make a round cap. Slowly moving things around using the shift extrude slash scale. And I'll do one more just because. That'll do. Perfectly fine. Next, what I'm going to do is, so if I have 18, that means I can now do 1, 2, 3, just to split this up nice and evenly. I'm going to go to edges, and I'm going to select Q right here, and Q to turn it to select mode, select these edges, Shift, and then I'm going to hit the detach components and faces, double click these faces and delete them. So that way I can model one in case of ours, we have 6 blades, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, so so 1/6 of our model, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to a little higher just because that'd be roughly where I'd want it. And then I'm going to put one in the center, right? And we will double click this guy. I'm going to bevel. I'm going to increase the fraction to like something like 0.9 roughly. Might even actually just type it in, 0.9. Right, and do like, let's see here. I'm going to middlemost drag to add in enough segments so that way I can get a good twist. I might do like 10. Let's do 10. There we go. Let's see here. Actually, I'm going to undo that really fast. Let's see here. Oops. Edge. Make it nice and big. Super extending. In fact, I'll make it even larger. There we go. Make this again 0.9. And then I can do 10. Oops. 10 in my bevel. So, try that again. Let's do 10. Perfect. Nice blade-like setting. And then I just got to come back up here. Vertexes, or edges. I'm just gonna grab these guys and scale them in. Pull these down a little. There you go. Make sure that I'm not concaving that. Then I can go to edges, double click, hit B, and then I'm going to open up the soft selection. I'm going to go to surface just to be on the safe side, make it a little bit bigger so I'm touching just the top and the bottom of this thing. All right, and then just turn it ever so slightly, just along the lines like that. Now I might come along here at the top though, just to finish the tilt a little. There we go. Right. You can always play around with which way it is. Volume works better if you have multiple meshes. Surface if you want to only work on a single mesh, but I now have that. Alright, so let's see here. 1 second, guys. So with that, I am now going to do edit, duplicate, special with options. And then what I'm going to do is I want 5 more copies at 60 degrees and hit apply. Next, I'm going to take these guys and combine them together. Delete my history. Then I'm also going to do a vertex weld. Hit B to turn that off, and I'll hit 3 to see how well this goes. Let's see. Nope. I want to undo whatever that is. Not B, sorry. I want to make sure this smooths nicely, but the main thing is we want to merge. That's what I wanted. Right? Because I want to make sure that it be these guys. I click on one. There we go. Yeah. All nice and one mesh. Perfect. There we go. I can modify and edit that later. So, all right. So I am going to save. At this point, name this the propeller ship propeller blade Neo, just to be on a good naming of sense. Oops, I missed the geo. There we go. All right. Just give me a moment. We'll take a little bit of a pause here, and then I'll start up in a minute. All right. Now that our modeling is done, we're going to get into starting the animations. But before we do that, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to delete history and freeze transform. Although I am also going to take all this cloth geo. And I think I am going to hit combined, delete history. And then I'm just going to parent it to the wing itself. So that middle mouse button, dragging it up to the left wing geo. Then, to kind of show this off, we're going to first select the child object, the parent, and hit P. We'll do the same thing as a middle mouse dragging it in the outliner here. Right, and I can select both parent objects, Control G to group them, and call this the left side underscore group. Right. Typically, I would have already done the UVs for this one here, but to start us off, let's look at the actual animation side of things. So we're going to grab the ship's propeller, and we're going to look down here. So you've got a timeline down here, along with the ability to also see change what you see of the timeline. So this is like the playback loop, right? So this is kind of where you can have multiple animations, right? So every 100 frames, you could potentially make an animation, right? So if I were to go back here, right, and hit the little walking man with a gear, this brings up our timeline settings. The main thing is I've changed it the frame rate to from 24 to 30 frames per second, since the minimum you'll want is 30 frames per second for your game. Now, the main thing down here is the playback speed. I'm going to put this back to free temporarily and hit save, just so you guys can see what's going to happen here. So I am going to first hit S on our wheel. Now, I typically don't want to hit S, but it keys all the frames for transform, rotation, scale, and visibility. Right? If I undo that, I can now hit the Shift, hold Shift, and hit E, which will only key the rotation. Right? And notice how I have a nice red line down here as well. We're on frame 1, as long as you have frame 1 selected. And if I were to go to like frame 100 here, and I wanted to, let's say, have this rotate, let's just say 2 or 3 times within that time frame, right? You would take 360 times that by, let's say I said 3 times, right? So we'd want 1080, right, on the Z, right? Now, as you notice up here, these are in light pink. That means, and you don't see a keyframe at 100. I can right click on these things and key selected manually, or for future reference, I can turn on the auto key. So anytime I type in a number or a value, right? So for whatever reason, right, if I were to do that, you'll see it now auto key. Or I can also hit Shift E to make sure that I key those frames. All right, so in our playback, if I were to set this down to 100 out of the max 300 and hit the play, right, you'll see that we've got a really fast spinning blade. Well, this is kind of what I was talking about when we turned it to free. So if I set this back to 1 frame per that, you'll notice now we get a bit better spinning relationship. So with that, now doing that, you'll also notice we have a wind up and a wind down for our animation. Now that's because by default, Maya interpolates in between the keyframes with some curves, right? So it eases in and eases out. Now, in order to fix that, we need to go to Windows, Animation, and the Graph Editor. The Graph Editor here is the actual thing that we're looking at. Weird that it zoomed in like that, but I'm going to stop the playback, right? Notice how we have a nice ease in and ease out. This is technically the other rotations, but typically I want to change this to a more linear version of this in our case, right? So if I now hit play, right? So this here is the linear tangents for the curve graph. Now, to move around in our graph editor, right, the mouse wheel zooms in and out. Alt mouse wheel will drag you left and right. Oh, sorry, guys. But we can also set it to like the curves here are auto curve. Right, these are different auto curves that you can potentially have for the individual things, right? So, but ultimately, right, you think of them like curves inside of a 2D editor, right? You know, using your pen tool or something, right? Each tangent you want to make sure is set to linear in our case for these, specifically for the propeller itself. Now that I've got that animating, and if I were to hit play, right? Oh, right. You can technically click on this options here. Let's see here, playback. key trick, active channel, smart, no, always context, no, let's see, key tick, no, keyframe, let's see, no, update view, all, there we go. I want to make sure it's updating in all viewports. There we go. That was what I was looking for, right? So if you change it from active to all, that means that you'll see the animation playing in the all four viewports if you have it there. In fact, I should technically only be in the viewport. Right, so I'm going to hit stop. Right, now I can type in my 300 to see my max there, right? Something's not right here. Let's see here. There we go. So now I can see, and then our current frame wherever we are, right? Well, if I hop back into our graph editor, right, I can also go animation graph editor, right? I can this, and typically I could also go into the curve section. Post infinity is before, pre infinity is after. If I were to hit cycle, right? And hit play now. And you'll notice that it doesn't really change too much, but basically it'll keep playing regardless of where I am, which is nice. In order to actually see the actual curve graph, though, we can go back to Windows, Animation, Graph Editor, right? You'll notice by default it turns on here. If it doesn't, you can also click these buttons here, pre-infinity, and then you've got post-infinity as well. If I undo that, right? So if I were to select everything and just do it this way, you'll notice we get a nice post-infinity version of it as well. Is another way. If you don't see it, you can go to View, and infinity is right here, on and off, to turn it on and off. If you're missing your graphs, you might have accidentally hit Shift M, which technically does all of them at once, just to be careful of missing a few of those. I'm going to show you a cool extra little thing, which by duplicating this guy, right, then I'm going to Shift P this one out here, and this will be, instead of Geo, this will be Blend, because we're going to make what's called a blend shape. So I'm just going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Vertex. And we're just going to select I'm going to hit Q, reset the tool. Oh, turn off your auto keyframe. 1 second here. Restart. Reset tool. Yeah. I'm going to also reset. Hit B to turn off the smart select. I feel like I've done something to my settings. But because it's like I have infinitely tab turned on. Let's see here. I'm just going to restart really quick. Sorry about that. After a quick restart, we're back to normal selection. All right. So I'm going to hit B. I'm just going to go to the top view, grab like some of these. So this is like the soft selection. All right. And I can quickly grab a few of these. Oop. Right. I'm going to alt click on this, right? Deselect a few. And what I'm going to do is open up my soft selection, make sure we're on surface, hit B to decrease the radius of influence, so that way I know for sure I'm not editing the outside. I might even make it a little bit bigger and just go like this. Now, I can also grab a selection. We're just going to bigger. Oops. Because I want to make it a little more. Last one, let's make it go down. There. Well, I'm just trying to play with the actual shape. Now, ideally, right, we've got our blend and then this one. If I go up to what's called the deformers and hit blend shape, right? Now, I can at any point come along here and just see how if I play with the cloth blend over here, you'll notice that by dragging left and right, technically I can hold control to make it a little less there, right? It gives us the ability to kind of make it look like it's rustling in the wind, but I'm going to hit 1, right? Now, this is also why you want to delete history and freeze transforms beforehand, because doing it so now, you would have to make sure that you do the edit, delete, or edit, sorry, and delete. Where are you? Edit, delete by all type or all types, but make sure you do the non-deformer history because the blend shape is a deformer history. Now, in order to actually key these frames, we need to go to what's called the Windows Animation and the Shape Editor. Now, what I'm going to do is go to frame 1 to start us off. I'm going to hit keyframe for both of these. Right, you can just click those there. And then I'm just going to do 25. No, what? Let's do 15. Right, I'm going to then do 1 and key the frames here. Right. No, and I will do this there as well. So we're at frame 15. If I went to 30, I can keyframe them again. But this time I'll make sure it's back into 1. Right. Now, this is where I'm going to then go back into my Windows, my animation, and graph editor. And I can kind of see what I have going on here. But let's see here. If I hit up here, making sure that it goes all the way. I want to make sure again that this is at 0. I'm going to turn back on the auto keyframe, making sure that it actually does it, right? Select everything and do the post infinity. That way, if I now hit play, we now have a little bit of a funny animation, but these guys here, I can now officially just hit H to hide. And then I'm going to hit the stop animation. Now, I'm going to grab my left side here, go up to edit. Now, in order to actually duplicate with animation, we want to go to edit, duplicate special. And then now I'm going to hit edit and reset, which will reset all my transforms, but I want to make sure I duplicate with input connections. Right now, by doing so, I now have to come back over here and now -1 it, right? Now, if I hit play and make sure I turn off the auto keyframe, right, you'll notice that we've got both the things working nicely backwards. Now, a quick way to rename anything here is, well, technically I already only have to rename the one because everything else I didn't actually give it a proper, right, and I'll just call this group, and then technically I should go over here and add a prefix of R underscore. I guess I could have replaced the L with the R, but I also want to quickly just make sure that I have. Yeah, of course I don't. All right, so I'll just do quickly. And I don't need the number since I've now gotten it down to 1, just for naming convention's sake. And then I'll open up my left side as well. Underscore this. And go back to the beginning. L underscore. And then there. With that, that should at least allow you guys to have some cool animations. You could technically also at one point, so if you wanted to make like frame, 100 to 100, like the default animation, right inside like frame, let's just say 200 here. I could add in like a steering animation with my actual, wheel here. Now, yes. Now, this is one thing I want to fix because apparently my pivot point is no longer inside the center, which I'm going to turn off the smart snap. I'm just going to snap it right here to the center of the wheel. All right, so holding D, or hit D, hold V. Oh, not B, V as in Victor. All right, undo this. Right, holding V while using the mouse wheel, you can literally move your pivot point to wherever your mouse is. And with that, I can now hit Control 1. There we go. And that will be perfectly fine and ready for me to animate if and when I want to add in that animation. In the meantime, obviously I can go back and delete this side and then UV and texture this. But in the meantime, that will be, since I've already kind of showed you guys that part, you guys should hopefully be set moving forward. The next one, we're going to be modeling the blimp itself and then working on the strings or the ropes going up and down.